Welcome to Real Money Talks. Real strategies from the moneymakers and the world changers that you can use to make millions, keep those millions, multiply your wealth, and build your team. Here's your host, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View, Loral Langemeier.
Hey, this is Loral, and welcome back to Loral's Real Money Talks, the podcast that talks about money, how to make it, how to keep it, how to invest it, how to use a team, and everything in between. So it's mostly an interview show where I bring guests that are experts in all sorts of different topics. Today, I brought a family, and Kelly Owens has been in our big table for quite a while. She'll talk about that in a moment. And then she has brought both of her kids who had just a world-class experience just recently at our big table in Dallas, Texas. So we're going to talk a little bit about how other families are putting this, make your kids millionaires, in motion. So Kelly, welcome. I'll introduce your kids in just a moment.
Hello.
So talk a little bit about just your experience coming to the table. You've been around for what, 3 years?
3 years. So my first experience coming to the table was actually, it was right before COVID hit, your last live event in Houston.
Right.
And, you go to these conferences and it's a bunch of cheerleading and everything. And I was sitting back and you got up there and I'm like, hold up. That's the first time I leaned in during the entire conference. And I knew that I wanted to learn more. So I got your book, started reading, started following you online, spoke to my husband about it. He thought I was insane, that I've lost it again. And then we spoke on the phone and some of your team members called and we really clicked, and my husband still, no. Finally, I spoke to somebody and they said, what's more important, your future or your right now? And so I made the jump and I went into the room and said, oh, by the way, we joined the table. And he, again, was like, you did what? But we joined the table. I was in Boise the following week and went from I'm not really a shy, timid person, but I was kind of insecure with my business. And so I met all of the people in the community that were in Boise. I got to know Scott, Eileen, you, Damon, Steve, just everybody. And it gave me the confidence and the ability to know, hey, if these guys can do it, I can too. And so knowing that I had the support and the systems that I was establishing in place really helped out tremendously. And it's made a huge impact on my life. And I got my kiddos involved now.
So before we introduce both your kiddos in a minute, talk about the changes. I remember, right before walking to the big table, you said, if it wasn't for the big table, wasn't for the education that you got, I mean, this was your $100,000 week, not month, not year, week. So talk a little bit about where you were to where you are now, and then we'll bring the kids into the conversation. Because again, the reason this book came out a year ago, May, was to do exactly what Kelly has done with her family and her kids and brought them into the conversation. So excited.
So when I first started, if it could be done wrong, it was done wrong. I mean, poor Scott. He had some cleaning up to do. I did everything backwards and I did it incorrect. I was W-2'd. When I joined the table, I had just started real estate full-time. I'd only been doing it for about 6 months full-time. I've been licensed for a while, but full-time, didn't know what I was doing, didn't know how I was going to structure everything. Coming into the table, I had always talked to other investors about, well, you really need to look into this. You need to do that. If you can't do, then you teach, right? Not you. I'm not saying that about you, but that was my mentality. I didn't have the courage to do the things that everybody else was doing. When I joined the community and I came out and I got my LLC set up, I got the bookkeeping lined out, I got someone to do my taxes, and then all the other people that I could bounce ideas off of, it gave me the courage to go ahead and do what I'm doing. So I'm doing real estate full time, and we're actually helping restructure an apartment portfolio. So we're working on a $1 billion asset portfolio right now, restructuring it all.
So as far as net worth change, what would you say kind of net worth and cash flow? Because that's what everybody wants to know. And that, well, 3 big data points, I think, is how to increase your net worth, your cash flow,
Right.
and reduce your taxes, because those are the big, especially for adults, those are the big ones.
So net worth has changed drastically with this restructuring that we did. Went from making a good salary and title, had a great salary, but I was kind of at the top of the chain. Going in full-time real estate, that's scary. And then figuring out how to do it. This year we are on target to hit the mark. So the big mark, we should hit it this year.
Why are you so scared to say that? You need to say that word. So I'm going to be a millionaire this year.
I am going to be a millionaire this year, without a doubt.
They're jumping up and down. They're going, go mom.
And she's got it structured right. So we will hit the mark this year, which is super exciting. And knowing that it's safe, it's protected, knowing that I've got the system set up, the trusts are set up, the accounting set up so that I can write it off and maintain it. I will be able to turn around and reinvest in other properties and projects so that money's making money while I sleep. Good. And that's an awesome feeling.
And so as you kind of grew through this, what had you bring the kids to the party?
Well, I've tried every single event to get one of them or both of them to come with me. And Avery can't ever make it at month end, and that's when the events were happening. William, I think he thought I was full of it for most of the time. He thinks that I'm just going out and playing. Well, he does. We do play. That's a good time, but you have to do that because it's just part of the family. Trying to get them to come, I would share with them. I would give them books. I actually bought a book for William. I think it was sitting on his bookshelf without the spine being broken recently. But I would try to get them to come, and they weren't able to. So finally, William was able to join me in Reno, and he walked away looking like he was scared to death. But he was like, Mom, I need to work on my 120. Help me with my 120. Let's structure this. Let's get it going. I'm ready. And then both of them, I was so excited to have both of them with me this time. And the conversation driving from Houston to Dallas was night and day from the conversation driving from Dallas to Houston. The whole conversation shifts, your perspective shifts. You surround yourself with the 5 people that are smarter than you. You're the sum of the 5 people you're around. And it was such an amazing feeling to have both of them as part of that conversation and having different Loralisms that we used.
So William, let's jump to you. Welcome. You were the first one that jumped. So you were in last Reno, would been, October of 2022. So talk about walking in. I mean, having been skeptical, watching your mom jump and think she's crazy about all this, what shifted your expectation going into, and then now 2 tables later, what's happened to you?
Thanks for having me, first of all, Laurel. It's funny because it does go back to when Mom started the first table. Mom starts going to the table, and then she starts pitching this dream, and she's on the mark. I thought it was just a dream, and then she starts showing results, and then she convinced me to go after my own something for myself. So I build my own business, and then finally, after building my own business, 2 weeks after building my own business, I jump into something like the big table, which was, I'm gonna be honest, I had some preconceived notions about.
What'd you think about cult?
I was afraid. I definitely, I definitely thought the people there were going to be cold and unapproachable, and they were just so busy. But I couldn't have been further from the truth, Laurel. They were busy, absolutely, always busy. But they were warm and welcoming. They were friendly and open. Um, so that really gave shifted my perspective of, not only the community, but the opportunity to learn and grow because people were just throwing knowledge at you as fast as you can take it in. One of my favorite sayings was throwing knowledge at you was like drinking water from a fire hydrant. Um, and that kind of outlet gave me a new perspective, which allowed me to really challenge what I thought I could do, um, build and prepare for next big table, which I'm so glad that I felt so much more comfortable this big table, feeling like I was, really part of something, really like I saw some like I was going to see some old friends,
Yeah.
and that makes me so excited for next big table as well.
So what are some key learnings and shifts? I mean, you're how old are you now, William?
I'm 29.
So you're now living corporate life, right? So I think everyone on the podcast knows. If you don't, I'll put in the show notes some millionaire intensive tickets, which is like our introduction to what we teach and how to live corporate life, which means at 18 and older, you're an adult, which means you can live through corporate structure. You can activate 81,000 pages of tax code. You can actually begin this life. Are you going to become a millionaire in 3 to 5? It's up to you.
Absolutely.
It's going to make it. So what was your biggest shift in knowing? I mean, obviously the community is just by far the greatest people ever.
And I believe that's probably one of the best founding parts of the entire structure is the community, because the community makes you feel like you're not alone in all this. You hear all the time about the dream being the self-made millionaire, but what they don't tell you is it's not just the self-made millionaire. It's not just someone alone. They have a whole team, and hopefully my entire team revolves around this community, and this community is much larger than just a singular, aspect or singular profession. It's the conglomerate of all of these experts, all these expertise. So you don't have to worry about, what industry or what dream you want to formulate because you have options.
I bet one day you're going to write a book, William. I have a feeling. Yeah, I'll just put that out there for you. But it was fun to watch, I think you being kind of awestruck in October to raising your hand, being involved. Last question I want to ask you, and then I move into Avery, and then we'll have more of a family discussion, is the mastermind. So how has the mastermind experience been? Because sometimes, it's good and sometimes it's not as strong. But what have you found with that?
The mastermind is competitive for sure. They really take you down to, they don't let you lie to yourself. If you're going to put a goal, and if you're going to put a goal out, you're going to be expected to make that goal. No, they're going to keep you accountable, and that's exactly the kind of thing that you're looking for in a mastermind. It's the accountability, because a lot of people like me need structure. Like my biggest fear was doing it alone because I don't trust myself enough to structure myself and keep myself busy, because I always get so interested in this and that. And so some things may fall through the cracks, but that's the beauty of it all. That's the beauty of the team.
Yeah. And Avery, what had you get here? Finally, but it was good to see you. What had you jump? Did you need William to go first and then reinforce to you that it's actually a cool place to be?
Yeah, so first it was always the worst timing for me. It was either I had something coming up or I was getting married or this or that, because I got married, very, very recently. So
Congratulations.
thank you. But my
Is
brother
Kelly gonna be a grandma like anytime soon?
no, got to focus on that career first.
Best money, have kids later, but they are tax deductible, so it's going to work in the plan.
Maybe my tune will change then. I don't know. But no, I wanted William to take the heat first, kind of test the waters out a little bit, and then he just came. Honestly, I got FOMO. He came home and he was talking about it nonstop, and him and mom were talking about it nonstop, and I was like, oh. And I just kept itching. I was like, man, I kind of, I really want to go now. So where she mentioned it the next time, then I was like, all right, count me in. I'm gonna go. I'll figure it out. I don't care what we've got going on. If I'm shorthanded, whatever the case is, put my name in. I'm going. So I don't know. It was just quite the experience, honestly. Seeing everything that mom talks about, always hearing her talk about it. It's different when you're actually there, right? Seeing the eye flip, or just them explaining all the different cash machines, or just ways to make money, or creative ways to make money. I mean, to me, that was just incredible. But hearing your mom talk about it, and then hearing, going to an actual seminar and seeing it put into place, I think that was a big mind shift for me. So I'm walking away with a lot more knowledge than I thought I was, and it was just incredible. It was an incredible experience.
And how about you living corporate life now? How do you see that? Like, I can imagine driving up, like Kelly said, Houston to Dallas was a different drive than Dallas back to Houston. So how does living corporate life now independently, but all with not only this goal in mind? So tell the audience what you said about this book to your mom.
Well, I told on the way home, well, it wasn't even on the way home. It was the moment that seminar ended. I pulled her, I said, hey, I don't know what you need to do. You need to do your part and read Loral's book because I want to be a millionaire. So I need her to do a little bit of homework, and I'll do mine too, because it's about building that generational wealth, So if I do have kids, that's something I want to be able to pass down to them. But it was just incredible. Yeah, it's hard to put into words, because
Yep.
It was like William said, you have so much information coming to you, and you're like, okay, wait, hold on, let me take a note. Hold on, wait, hold on. You're just sitting there taking notes, and you want to absorb it all. So I guess that's the beauty of going to the second mastermind, is anything that may have slipped through those cracks, you can scoop it all up and put it in your basket. So
Yeah, and for those of you listening, when you leave with a 120-day plan. So that's what we mean by the 120. And then you leave with a mastermind group, and then get reassigned coaches and set for the next, really 6 months, because we'll be back together in October. So what are some of your goals? Let's go around the family here. What are some of your goals between now and October that will be put in play that we can look forward to seeing you growing into? Kelly?
Mine is to hit that millionaire mark. I'm giving myself 6 months to do that, and I know that we're going to hit it. So I'm excited about that. And the other thing that I want to do is my husband and I have a goal of buying a second home, so that we can be there during the summer times, because it gets really hot here, and be here during the winter times, because I hate the cold.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a way to get away from the cold and away from the heat.
It's really not going to be a second home. It's going to be an LLC that's going to own a rental that's going to make you money.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. You gotta correct me
a little. You can Airbnb it when you're not there, or short-term rent it.
Yeah, it absolutely will Airbnb when we're not there. So that's my key goal, is to hit the mark and to get a second home, or to get a second investment property, or sixth investment property. And then to ensure that William and Avery both understand how to handle my business when I'm no longer here. So, and that's one of the advantages of having both of them attend the community, is they know the people now that's in my when I die folder. So it says, call Scott, call this person, call that person, and they'll have the relationship already. So it'll be an easier conversation.
Yep. William, what are some of your goals between now? We're recording this in April 2023, and we're going to be back together in October, and looks like we're going to be in Lake Tahoe at the lake.
Cannot wait. What I want to have done by next big table, I want to develop a cash machine. I want to utilize business credit. I want to establish the Roth. I want to get with some of the other insurance people, and really see how the game is played, even in depth and more advanced than my current understanding of it now.
Yep. And then what about some other business goals for you? Just like cash flow goals. Do you have other cash flow goals?
Not currently at the moment. I'm still trying to lay a foundation that to implement your system in a way that's going to be that I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So until that's built, and I know that it's working for me, and that I am doing you proud. I will make sure I don't bite off more than I can chew.
Yeah. And just keep moving it along. And Avery, what's your goals between April and October?
I am starting an LLC. That way I can stop using, I can use the tax credits, everything else like that, utilize everything that I can. Any vacations, they're no longer going to be vacations, business meetings, learning
Y'all
on.
ready to say goodbye to a vacation?
Yeah. Sorry, no more vacations.
Trips. We go on business trips around here.
Exactly. Yep. So I'm establishing a cash machine currently, something I had been doing for free, but why give away free stuff when I can make money off of it?
So give a little market it here. What are you going to get? What are you going to start up? Can everybody look forward to?
So I am really into like ChatGPT and AI. So I am in the process of starting essentially like a course on how to, do you want, welcome emails? Are you trying to figure out how you're going to communicate with certain clients using tones? Essentially teaching them how to use prompt stuff that I'm already doing and I love to do. It's just turning something that I love into something that makes me money, and then I'll love it even more. So I have to give a shout out to Steve. He was amazing on helping me kind of jumpstart on that and giving me the confidence that I needed, because I thought I was just honestly some little nerd who, was just really into the new AI and everything else like that. And he kind of opened my eyes and said, no,
it's a big business.
Yeah, this is big business.
And sitting around the table, those 100 people in the room could be your client, because most of them, they want the marketing that I have and they want the tech that I have, and they're willing to pay for the tech. What they aren't figuring out fast enough is how to get enough content. So you could help them get the content, and then we do all the rapid marketing systems, and we just kind of work together. So I'll loop back with Steve on that, because that is like the number one problem with people who sign up for rapid marketing systems is they can't get enough content because they don't know how to use those AI tools to just produce enormous volumes of content. So that's
something that takes
good one.
Forever, I can do in like 2 seconds, like we saved
your job. Then I guess we shouldn't say this on public air in case somebody sees it, but is that an eventual goal?
It will be my next step. I don't want to say goal because I am gonna definitely accomplish it.
You could also just become a contractor where you live and your company hire your company instead of being employed. Better tax plan.
Exactly. Yeah. Never know. And another thing. Yeah. So pretty much it's just the whole change of mindset was just incredible for me. And that's just something I want to use. I want to use these connections that I've made to jumpstart. And also, like after Mastermind, all the investments and different stuff like that. They were talking, I don't know if I can go into specifics on some of the stuff that they talked about, but there were certain investments where they're sort of projects.
That are not big table projects. These are other clients' projects, but they're sharing other projects with them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So pretty much people who were talking at the big table and Mastermind just put so many wheels in motion in my head. I'm like, well, if they can do it here, I know, land over here that we can do it at. And, so I approached them and, I may be a little fish in the pond, but they were willing to give me the time and, the energy. And they're like, oh, hey, that may not actually be a bad idea. Look into it and get back to me. So now I've got my eyes on a project, and if I can't afford it, guess who I'll go to? I'll use, either that Roth IRA I learned about or the insurance, policy. Yep. There's just so many different ways getting out of the broke mindset. Like, oh, I don't have the money to start. I don't have the money to start. I'm going to find a way to start so I can jump into this next project.
And there's money everywhere when you organize it right.
Money everywhere. Yeah. And that's
something. That woman right next to you on the video called Mom, I bet she could help you figure out some ways to get some funding.
Yeah. That crazy lady up there. We love her. Especially when she reads your book.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Any other words just about this family? I guess trying it for you to end, Kelly, putting a trust in place so your family, like you said, doesn't go to probate. They don't end up with half of what you've built in the state of Texas. Any other final words, kind of speaking to parents? Because the reason I really wanted you, when you were texting me on the way back, home, and I said, I really want you to be on a podcast because you're one of the first families that are really willing to speak out and talk about like this works. You got to put it in motion. That trust has got to be above it all. So you don't end up in, probate. But what words would you say to those that are really parents? Because this is a parent and kid book. It's not just a kid book. And I think a lot of parents bought it for their kid. And Whoops, there we go. A lot of parents bought it for their kid, but they didn't, it's a mutual execution when you do it right, which I think you guys did a brilliant job.
Right. Well, unfortunately, the book only came out a year and a half ago, and both my children are older. So maybe my grandchildren one day will be millionaires. Hint, hint, both of y'all are getting a book. But no, the big thing for me is this different type of conversation we have at the house. William and Avery come over. We meal prep every week together as a family, which is awesome because we're all losing weight and loving it. And they come over on Wednesdays normally, and we fix a meal for which is tomorrow. Avery, remember. And we share a meal. We each make a serving of 6. Anyway, we share it. But our conversation while we're cooking now revolves around what's your cash machine? Where are your 90s? What are you doing for marketing? How do you do that? Oh, by the way, Avery, I need a new bio, or I need this, or, she's over there helping us do that. William's planning his strategy. I'm listening, and I told him, I was like, you need to get a coach. And William's like, but you're my coach, Mom. I'm like, no, I'm Mom. You need a coach, So being able to have open, frank conversations and speaking the same language where we're bouncing ideas off of each other, to me, that's exciting. It's fun. It creates a stronger bond where they know where I'm coming from, and it's not just being Mom. It's and then seeing the changes in me, I think has helped them realize that, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
It is fun. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being on today. And those of you, every Friday morning, we come out with a new podcast. So make sure you subscribe and click that notification button so it actually pops in, and listen every Friday morning to our Real Money Talks podcast. And if you have any questions, go to Ask Loral, ASKLORAL, askloral.com. Ask any question 24/7. We'll be right back with you. Stay tuned for the next episode next week. Thanks, family.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Real Money Talks podcast. Your host has been Loral Langemeier, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View. Want to learn more about off-Wall Street investing, tax strategies, and multi-million-dollar business strategies? Visit liveoutloud.com/podcast for past episodes, show notes, and resources. For some special wealth-building gifts only for Loral's podcast listeners, visit liveoutloud.com/podcast gifts. Do you have a burning question for Loral? Visit askloral.com to submit your question, and it may just be covered on a podcast episode. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to get new episodes every week.